Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name is Alex, and in this video I'll tell you about a woman kidnapped by 9 assailants in the Philippines. The Philippines BI obtains records of alleged spy. More foreigners arrested. How does a paralyzed foreign man fall from a balcony? 2 dogs and an elephant story, plus more, beginning with the USD to peso exchange rate. Right now, $1 equal to 58.7. And you may have noticed that my background has changed. That's because I'm in a new country actually. For the first time, I'm here in Laos. So if you guys want to see my first impressions, my first day, you can go ahead and check out the live I did earlier yesterday morning. So I'll leave the link. I'll try to remember in the comment section. Here's our top story. A Chinese woman was kidnapped in General Trias City on Wednesday, January 22nd. A report from the Police Regional Office 4A said the victim is a 33-year-old resident of Barangay Navarro. Initial investigation showed that the victim was inside her residence along with her house helper and driver when 9 unidentified men arrived at the property in 2 vehicles at 3 a.m. The suspects forcibly entered the victim's room, abducted her, and took some of her personal belongings, including cell phones. The perpetrators then seized the victim's vehicle and fled the scene. Okay, so another kidnapping. Kidnappings happen periodically in the Philippines, mainly in the southern regions, but of course in Manila as well. I like to say that oftentimes it's within its own kind of peoples. For example, if it's like anything to do with the Pogos, it might be like a Chinese national kidnapping another Chinese national, sometimes with the help of local Filipinos and sometimes without them. So I'll go ahead and keep you guys updated as more details come along. Staying with Chinese in the Philippines, the Philippine Bureau of Immigration has identified a suspected Chinese spy accused of conducting espionage of Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement sites. The suspect, a 39-year-old Chinese man married to a Filipina, has been traveling to and from the Philippines since 2015. BI Commissioner Joe Anthony Vieira confirmed sharing the suspect's detail with the Department of Justice and the National Bureau of Investigation. To aid the investigation, deportation proceedings will begin, but will only be implemented after the suspect resolves all local cases and penalties. Vieira emphasized efforts to identify possible accomplices and warned that the spies will face severe consequences under the Bagong Pilipinas New Philippines administration. Spying is a serious thing. I hope there's nothing in the near future regarding deportation, but I do not know how these things work. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what qualifies as spy. I know the dude had a whole bunch of equipment in his trunk trying to capture 3D images of certain very highly classified facilities, like when it comes to military and other stuff. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on that one as well. And one last story regarding misbehaving foreigners or tourists or whatever in the Philippines. The National Bureau of Investigation arrested 18 foreign nationals, 8 Chinese, and 10 Vietnamese in Paranaque City for their involvement in online financial scams, including crypto, fraud investment schemes, romance scams, and identity theft. The operation was conducted after surveillance confirmed illegal activities. Search warrants were executed on January 15th and 17th, resulting in the seizure of computers, phishing templates, and financial records tied to scams. So another one of these big groups of people being captured. It always makes me wonder how many out there are just pretty much operating under nobody else finding out, knowing about it. Because let's face it, these criminals may not be so smart when it comes to concealing their whereabouts or what they do, but I'm sure there's major people out there operating completely from behind the curtains. Next up, Kevin Roy Burton, a 74-year-old British man and former managing director of a prominent UK company, tragically fell to his demise from a luxury condo in Pattaya, Thailand on January 22nd. Burton had been residing in the condo for an extended period. Police found no evidence of foul play in the 4th floor unit, though a wheelchair was located on the balcony. A security guard confirmed that Burton was paralyzed and unable to walk. His body has been sent for an autopsy to determine the precise cause of his demise. A paralyzed dude at his age, 74, was able to somehow miraculously climb the railing and perhaps do that to himself. I highly doubt it, despite what the police report says. Next up, a K9 officer helped detect 25 kilos of suspected Boo, valued at 170 million pesos, leading to the arrest of a mother and a son in Cebu City on Thursday, January 23rd. Staying with dogs, Bandit, known as the Marathon Dog, underwent surgery Thursday, January 23rd, according to Dr. Alice. Bandit completed a race of 42 kilometers during the Cebu Marathon, and his operation was him being neutered. Come on, man. That's how you're going to reward the dog? He ran 42 kilometers, and they're going to chop off his balls. I'm going to say it. Balls, not sack, the cojones. But I think it's smart, right? Of course, you want to try to contain and maintain the number of street dogs. Of course, they have to be neutered. So hopefully his celebrity status can go ahead and somehow bring more dogs in to get neutered. But all jokes aside, so what they do, they neuter them and put them back to where they got them from. I would think by now this dude would have a home. Come on, peoples. Who's looking for a dog in Cebu? Go ahead and find Bandit, because you know he got a lot of energy. In another animal story, in Chiang Talai, Phuket, an escaped elephant sparked chaos after fleeing its camp and wandering through the streets. The elephant became enraged and became entangled in scaffolding, entered a local school causing panic, and later waded into a nearby canal. Police, locals, and Mahout worked? What the heck is a Mahout? Mahout. I'm going to write it here. You guys can help me out. Mahout worked together to safely recapture the animal and return it to its camp without significant injuries or damage. Triggered by the sound of a car horn, the incident underscores the challenges of managing wildlife in urban settings and highlights the need for harmony between conservation efforts and human activities. Elephants have been a big part of Thailand for all of its history, but it's 2025, modernization all around. It's hard to kind of continue doing the same stuff perhaps once someone did back in the day. It's the same as like these horse and carriages. I am definitely not a fan of them. They seem so abused. They look malnourished, they look thirsty, hydrated, and we got some fat tourists trying to get on the back of these things. I'm all against that stuff, but that's just my personal opinion. So hopefully stuff, because then there was another one that kind of ran into some kids the other day. It's nothing new. Once again, this kind of stuff happens quite often, specifically in Thailand and other places where elephants are commonly used still. Next up, stricter penalties proposed for hospitals detaining patients over unpaid bills. Officials are seeking tougher penalties for hospitals that detain patients, their relatives, or remains of deceased individuals due to unpaid bills. The proposed bill aims to amend Republic Number 9439, which currently imposes a fine of 20,000 to 50,000 pesos or imprisonment of 1 to 6 months for violations. Under the new measures, penalties would increase to fines between 100,000 and 300,000 and imprisonment of up to 2 years and potential revocation of the hospital's operating license. Hospital directors or officers involved in such practices may also face personal fines or penalties. The bill also introduces a solution for patients or their families allowing unpaid bills to be addressed through a promissory note backed by guarantees from GSIS and SSS or PhilHealth. Officials emphasize that getting sick is not a crime, and the hospital should focus on providing care rather than detaining patients, especially those in emergencies or with severe illnesses. I'm all for this bill as well. I think it's absolutely criminal to hold people against their will, and I'm glad there's going to be stricter penalties. Of course, I know there's going to be people that disagree with me, so go ahead and share your thoughts. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think it's right for the hospital to detain you and hold you there until you pay the bills, regardless of how much that is? Or do you think this is fine to go ahead and make a promissory note? Next up, in a phone call with Donald Trump, the Saudi Crown Prince revealed the kingdom's $600 billion investment plan in the U.S. over the next 4 years. $600 billion? So if that's how much they're investing in the U.S., $600 billion. Imagine how much money they have, the royal family. It's got to be over, well, of course, it has to be over $1 trillion. Think about it. I feel like they could solve all the world's problems with that kind of money. But I'm just being naive, of course. That's a lot of money still. And now we have the U.S. working with the Saudis. I guess if you know, you know. They've been working together for a long time. Anyhow, let's not go down that conspiracy path. Let's go on to our next story. In a complete contrast regarding wealth, a sales associate at a shoe company and his live-in partner were arrested for allegedly stealing shoes inside a mall in Barangay Mobolo, Cebu City, Philippines. Yeah, some people got too much, some people got very little. Going back to the rich thing a little bit, I kind of always don't want to be that rich. I know it sounds stupid and you might not believe me, but once you're that rich, like, what do you find joy in? Like, once you've done everything, when you got everything out of your system, you traveled, you mongered, you ate, you did all that stuff. So what's the point, right? Nothing would interest you, I'd imagine, right? Especially if you're doing this since you're little. But yeah, a lot of money still. Let's end with some positive news. The 17 Filipino seafarers who were held captive for over a year in Yemen were finally back home. They arrived in Manila on Thursday evening, January 23rd, which is great. Also, by now you may have heard that the ceasefire in Gaza with Israel and Palestine has completed its first phase, which is great. Hopefully we can stop all the wars in the world. Let's go on to our segment Yesterday Today, where I read some of the most popular comments regarding our previous video, which was a live stream. So I'm going to skip it and go one further back, 2 shows ago. This video's main story was about John Tewell, the archivist who's in trouble and needs financial help. And William says, I inferred from his post that the victim cannot access his pension because of no Wi-Fi. That is not much of an excuse in today's world. No, that's not why I explained in that video why he cannot access his pension. Jess says, like with the SSA and other retirement vehicles, pensions for Americans living abroad, there's probably annual proof of life requirements that haven't been met starting about 7 months ago. Yes, excellent point. Cody also says, do not help this guy. He had the last couple years to go home and didn't do it. Embassy even gave him temporary passport for last year. His choice to stay, so leave him stay or let him stay. His choice, if you give him a choice to go home, he will say no. He just wants your money and monthly payments from you. Repeat, he does not want to go home. For those who want to, quote, die in the Philippines, be careful what you wish for. You may just get it. Even the donations links are not in his name nor his wife's name. I'll let you make of that comment what you will. So I guess a general sentiment regarding that specific story was do not give money to this guy because he chose to be in the situation he is. Whether you agree, disagree, I'm not here to argue with people. You have the right to your own opinions. And that's it for this video. Please go ahead and leave your thoughts down below regarding any of the stories I covered today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.